נכבדת, מרת עופרה בת שושנה, רוח אדנו תניחן ובגן עדן תתפטרת מן עולמו הודן, תקודלו מולשם יוארו המלך ברחמו יוחוס ויחמל עולהו וילאו אלהו השולט ועל משקופו יסולט נרכבים יום סולם יונחו על משכבי זוב חלק נחיחי וכל בנת ישראל שכבת עמו כל הנשמה שנתת בי
אתה מצלם כל הזמן?
עם תופעה, נצרים.
כמובן שהיו תלמידים מכל הארץ והיו כאלה שזיהו אותה ולא האמינו שעופרה חזה לומדת איתם בכיתה.
Also, bis dann. Tschüss.
A great lady, amazing, wonderful talent, beautiful woman, really very special.
It really stood out. It was clear, very clear, that this was a star. This was a big star. This is a woman who was beautiful, she was young, and she had the voice of an angel. She knew how to sing, and whoever had produced the record, they did a beautiful job.
We're in the car, it's just Ofra and myself, and I looked over at her, and she was radiating, you know, just like radiating light. And it wasn't the headlights from other cars reflecting. It was, it took my breath away because I realized that the light was coming from within her. And over the years, as I knew her, I came to believe that she was the most highly evolved person I'd ever met, you know? She didn't force me to listen to anything. I think I drew this out of her, but it certainly changed my life.
Let the sun beat down upon my face, stars to fill my dreams. I'm a traveler of both time and space, to be where I have been.
I'd heard Ofra, I'd heard Amin Alou, and that was such a big hit. And my band Was Not Was had a big hit around the same time. We were all booked into the Tokyo Music Festival. And she started singing, and her voice just filled up this hall. I was in a conversation with somebody, and everyone just stopped and turned around. And they sent me a tape of songs with it, and I added to producing more. Doing a whole album, a follow-up to the Amin Alou album. I got back to LA and I put on the tape, and the first song on was the song Curia. It was a bad recording, you know, it was a cassette, it was noisy, it had all this hiss. The hiss sounded like wind. It sounded ancient, you know, it sounded like very... And then when her voice came on, I thought, this is not the voice of a young girl here. This is a voice that's been around for, you know, thousands of years. I would have to say I was riveted listening to that tape and knew that I had to work on that record. We weren't making records. It was a religious experience. That voice reached out and made some kind of connection from the origin of man. You know, whatever problems we have in this particular culture, they were irrelevant when you started listening to Ofra's voice. The song Daudahia, that was an interesting song. Beautifully told by Ofra through her singing and the music. We thought we would add a layer of rock and roll wildness. So who's a wild guy? You could get Iggy Pop, the wildest, right? And he was actually a big fan of Ofra's, you know, so it was very easy. He was a good friend from Detroit, and he came down and he narrated down to here. I first heard some of Ofra's music when I was still living in Europe. I was living in London, and a friend of mine, a record producer called Howie B, who worked with U2 and people like this, came back from Israel with this record he was blasting in my studio. I don't even know which one it was, but I went in there and I went, "What's this?" And he goes, "And you should look at her." And I instantly fell in love with her sound and her talent and everything. And then many years go by, and Steven Spielberg and Jeffrey Katzenberg have this idea of doing the story of Moses, doing The Prince of Egypt. Literally, DreamWorks was just being founded. I mean, there were no paper clips. There was nothing there. All there was, we were going to do a movie called Prince of Egypt, but you know, there was no infrastructure or anything, so everybody could chime in about anything. And I said, "Oh, if we do this, we have to work with this woman, Ofra Haza." And of course, they didn't know who she was. And I said, wait, I'll go out, I'll get some records, I'll show you pictures, etc. And because I knew in my, you know, I always wanted to work with her. You know, I just thought she was such an enormous talent and such an enormous ambassador of that world. And if we here in America were going to do anything that had any relevance to that world, we needed to get the real thing. And to me, she was always, you know, the best of the real thing.
When we were making The Prince of Egypt, which was the first animated movie project for DreamWorks, and telling this amazing story of Moses, one of my most important partners creatively in this project was Hans Zimmer, who is Academy Award-winning composer and great storyteller, and we had worked together on The Lion King, and he had won an Academy Award for his work. And Stephen Schwartz had written a quite beautiful opening song, which was a lullaby that was created for Moses' mother. And Hans Zimmer, I had become aware of Ofra's work in Europe, where she was quite popular at the time and well known. And he brought me a CD of hers back from Europe when he had been visiting, and said, "I think she would be wonderful to use in terms of some of the musical elements of the film." She was so good and so inspiring that we actually cast her in the movie, which was not something that we originally intended to do, and she played Moses' mother, both the part in the movie as well as singing you know, this amazing and quite beautiful song that really sort of set the stage for the movie.
Hush now, my baby, be still, love, don't cry. Sleep as you're rocked by the stream.
No, I remember. I was happy that he knew her. But what I was equally happy about was that Steven Spielberg instantly got that, you know, that was the way we should go. And I remember the artists, you know, being an animated film. I mean, the artists looking at her and instantly drawing the character of Yocheved in the likeness of Ofra. You know, which. What else could we do? There was, you know, she was beautiful and she was talented, and she was, for me, she was always the heart of that.